Major alert, guys. Major alert. Seems like gringos are not wanted in Mexico anymore.
Bruh.
Oh my God. What are we going to do? What's going to happen? What's the future of Mexico and coming out here and expats and foreigners and Well, actually, that's why I'm making this video, because there seems to be a lot of news out there, whether it's in the LA Times or even local news out here in Mexico. It seems like there's a problem with gringos or foreigners moving out here to Mexico. And so, we're going to talk about that. We're going to dissect that, as you guys already know how we do on this show, on this episode. Again, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell you the truth, as I see it. And the reality is that there is some truth to that. And it's, it's not anything new for anyone that watches this channel and, knows about assimilating and moving to Mexico and all that good stuff. But, long story short, there's a little bit of partial truth to that. We're going to dissect it. We're going to talk about it. But look, before you get too far into this video, the reality is that, Mexico still loves you guys. All right. Mexico is very happy to see you guys. And, at the end of the day, Mexico loves foreigners, loves, anyone that comes into this country to want to know more, share more about Mexico and all that good stuff. So you already know, if people come to Mexico and they show love to Mexico, Mexico shows love right back at you. Okay. So, we're going to talk about all that and then some. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, in today's video with the footage, I've actually gone to a different part of town. That's right. We've gone to the north. I think in the north. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was the north. Yes, in this footage. Because I've shot a lot of footage. I've been driving around. I've been getting the car, nice and fixed up, slowly but surely. And, yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's been a fun adventure throughout. And, now that I have the car, I can show you other parts of the city where I live in, which happens to be Mérida, Yucatan in Mexico. Seems to be a desirable place, good thing I came out here before that was the case. And, I slowly found out and figured out how awesome this place was. And I've been telling you guys and, a lot of you guys have been showing up. I don't think I've been the only one, out there talking about how awesome it is to live out here. But as you guys already know, this is why you're watching this video. It's because it's so much more awesome to live out here in Mexico than wherever you're at. And, we all have different situations and circumstances for wanting to move to Mexico. And there's many parts of Mexico. This is why I talk, more about Mexico in general than anything else. But yes, we do cover, very specific things to just Mérida as well. Again, I got a gazillion videos on my channel that you can check out after you're done watching this one. So let's get into it because it's a very important subject. I know a lot of you guys are very interested in knowing what's going on with that, because with what's going on with the story of, Mexicans hating gringos and Mexicans being upset with gringos and all that stuff. And what is a gringo? Look, a gringo, again, let's not sugarcoat it, okay? For anyone that's been hiding under a rock, and doesn't know, what a gringo is basically a white guy, a white person that speaks English or another language that is not Spanish, all right? If you're a white person that speaks Spanish, like me, you'll probably be considered a güero, okay? There's also, expat, that's a term that we like to use a lot. But look, let's just keep it straight. The whole expat name, that is just a thing that Americans, for the most part, I don't know if other, countries do this, but at least Americans, when they live abroad anywhere, they say expat. And what is expat? Expatriate. I'm expatriated. You know what I mean? If you're old enough, you probably remember, hey, I've gone bamboo. In this case, we've gone taco, burrito. I don't know, whatever.
Bruh.
Sorry. Anyways, but comedy's not my specialty. Or maybe it is. Anyways, but there's many terms. You know what I mean? The reality is that once you're out here, you're just an immigrant. That's it. Just like if you're, just like in your country of origin, you have immigrants. If you're from the U.S., from Canada especially. I know in Europe and other parts, this is also a thing, but definitely if you're in Canada or USA, we're used to immigrants. In fact, in many places, like major cities in our countries, we have places like Koreatown. We have places like, Miami, where, we got little pockets, of a bunch of Cubans and a bunch of Dominicans and Nicaraguans and every Latin American country represented out there. Just like when you go to LA and you have not just Koreatown, but you got Tokyo Town, you got Russia Town, you got, where all the Armenians are, where, I can go on and on. Same as New York, where the Dominicans hang out, where the Cubans hang out, where the Jamaicans hang out, and I can go on. Detroit, up in north, in the north part of the U.S., there's a lot of Muslim community, there's a lot of Asian community, but I digress. In some parts of the country, depending on how immigrants show up, sometimes they assimilate immediately and they start learning the language and assimilating into the culture and all this other stuff. But a lot of times what happens is that when a large group of people just show up at one time, it's a little hard to assimilate into the culture because, well, guess what? You have a lot of people that are just like you around you. So that's why you see places like Koreatown. Or look, my mom in Miami. She doesn't speak English. Bruh. I was born and raised here, okay, in the USA. Well, I'm not in the USA now. I'm in Mexico, but I was born and raised in the USA. And, you would have thought, my mom would learn English or speak spoken English. My mom never did. My dad never did. A few words here and there, but for the most part, zero, none, zilch. And because of that, sure, there were a lot of doors that were closed. There was a lot of barriers to them and all this other stuff. But because they grew, since we lived in Miami, it was not a problem because everybody spoke Spanish. In fact, even still to this day, if you want to live in Miami, you better know Spanish. Pretty much the same as if you're going to move to Mexico, right? And learn some Spanish. So, when I traveled around the country and I lived in other places, especially in Seattle, I that's when I really got to see, pockets of, the first place I left after Miami, I went to Seattle. But that's when I really got to see, again, Japantown, Koreatown, Chinatown, all these things, and these real communities just like we had back home. So fast forward to right now, what's happening here. So the news article, by the way, I can't really put it up because it's under like some pay block thing or whatchamacallit, like paywall and all that good stuff, which, by the way, let's quick little shout out to the sponsor, which is me. I am the sponsor of my own show and my own video. So you already know, if you guys ever want to, contribute to the show in any way possible, don't forget to please hit the like, subscribe, send a few bucks here and there, leave a comment, share the video, whatever. All those things help a lot. But yes, back to what I was saying about, sorry, had a little brain fart there. Bruh. But yes, as I was saying, about the LA Times article, the reality is that this whole story has been something that I've been hearing about for months now, for a while now. And let me explain, what's going on out here is that it's kind of backwards gentrification. And I talked about this before on the live stream that we had the other day. But long story short, what's really going on here is that it's backwards gentrification. Usually gentrification, it's like a really bad neighborhood, bad area, and then a lot of hipsters move in. No! God! And then they make the area better, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you cannot afford rent there anymore, and it's a better area. So that's kind of it. That's kind of gentrification. But this time it's backwards gentrification in the sense that this area was already a well-off area of, Mexico City. In fact, there was an area that was, seeing a lot of, a gentrification for a very long time, to the point that it already got to the point where it was already hipsterville and things were very expensive there. And, it was a nice neighborhood of Mexico City. Nice little area there. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of expats, a bunch of digital nomads, a bunch of gringos, a bunch of foreigners, basically started moving to Mexico City, and they started moving to that area to the point where, the original Mexican article was that, one day they woke up, they walked downstairs, and they were walking around their own neighborhood, and they noticed everything was in English, meaning everybody was speaking English, everybody was American someone that spoke English. A country that spoke English, and there was just English, or foreign languages everywhere for the most part. And all of a sudden, he started looking around, and he's like, "Hey, wait a minute! Why is nobody speaking Mexican? Where are the Mexicans?" And then he noticed, "Oh my God, the Mexicans are the workers. That's it. It's other than that, everything's in English." He started looking at the signs and started looking at things, and things were in English, not in Spanish anymore. And he's just like, "Oh my God, what's going on here?"
No, God.
Yeah. So he kind of lost it, and then immediately after all that, he was like, "Oh my God, what's going on here? What's going on with my own community? What's going on, with my area?" He wrote an article. That article got picked up by the LA Times and other places, and before you know it, I'm making a video on this.
Bruh.
But the backwards gentrification was that, this is already a well-off area, and all of a sudden, even more well-off people, because the average income for a lot of these people that live in this area that are foreigners is $100,000 or more. Yes, that's right, $100,000 give or take or more. I don't make anywhere close to that, and I'm sure a lot of you guys don't either. But that goes to show you as well, how, again, it's probably not even accessible to a lot of you guys that are listening, even me included. So that's the thing, all of a sudden things are getting more expensive, things are getting very hipsterish, and everything was again, all of a sudden it was just like America Town instead of Koreatown or Chinatown or, El Barrio, because again, back in the US, Mexicans are all over the place, just like, a lot of other foreigners, right? And they got, their own neighborhoods as well. So it's the same, and it's only in everybody, there's plenty of places I've been in LA where people only spoke Spanish and never spoke any English, just like back home in Miami. So with that being said, now all of a sudden that's happening here. And this is the first time. And it's a little bit of a backwards gentrification. And so, the reality is that, why a lot of Mexicans, might be getting upset, okay? It's not just because of this. It's many things. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to dissect them throughout this episode, okay? So let's start off with the obvious. What's happening in Mexico City, again, it's like, think about it, a bunch of people that are very well off and, living in a, a very well off, lifestyle. And all of a sudden a bunch of foreigners show up, and now all of a sudden, now they're not well off anymore and they can't afford to live there anymore, or things are just now all of a sudden very expensive when they weren't not that long ago. So you can see how it can, upset people. Plus the fact that everybody's speaking English now, things like that. Now, again, in this case, I don't think anyone can really avoid this situation at the moment. All right. But the other things that, other Mexicans get upset with out here, I think, again, this is just my humble opinion, is the fact that, for example, there are many cases, in fact, we say it all the time. In fact, I have videos on this. I probably insulted, I think I broke my glasses here, but I think I've insulted, Mexicans by mistake by constantly saying, how cheap Mexico is and how cheap it is to live out here. And the reality is that, a typical Mexican, again, a good majority of Mexicans, it is not cheap for them. It's cheap for us. It is not cheap for a typical Mexican. Like I've said, a typical Mexican makes, again, if they're lucky, $500. Most likely they're making $400 a month. If they're really good, 500. If they got two jobs, meaning two people work in the household, they can make $1,000 and all that stuff. So I have videos talking about, can you live on $450? Yeah. Can you live on $1,000? Yes. But again, you got to probably lower your standards. Again, watch those videos for more information on all that stuff, or not lower your standards. Again, it's all depending on how you look at it. But, the typical Mexican, makes less than $500 a month. So with that being said, things are not cheap out here for them, and especially with inflation and so many things that are going on right now in the world, it's definitely not cheap for them. Just like it's not cheap for you, and you're looking for a place that is, not only a better quality of life, but a, better cost of living and so many other things. So even for these digital nomads, or these people that are making $100,000 a year, when they go back to the USA, again, it's still pretty hard to make it on that kind of money. But here in Mexico, wow, you're really, really doing very, very well. So, that also, is a thing that we have to look at. We got to understand that. And, that's what's going on, at least in that area. When it comes to other areas of Mexico, and you see that maybe there are Mexicans, okay, that do not like expats or don't like, again, foreigners, look, we got to keep it real. There are people that are racist, not just here in this country, all over the world. Okay, some countries have more of a problem with racism than others. In Mexico, racism is not a major problem like it is in other countries. And racism again has a bad word connotation, all this other stuff. But the reality is, it just means one group that doesn't, one person or one group that doesn't like another group. That's it, or whatever. So in this case, you're going to find, people all over Mexico, Very few, but you'll find them that just don't like you because you speak another language or you look a certain way or whatever. Okay? Now, again, it's not really a major problem out here like it is in other places, but that's a reality too. Now, another thing that happens is that, again, just the fact that, a lot of people are coming out here. I'm talking especially about gringos, all right? And these gringos are coming out here and they're not assimilating at all. They're just doing their own thing. And again, in certain cases, like you're going to see like in the area of Mexico City where, what's prompted this video and, articles and this whole conversation to begin with is the fact that a lot of people just showed up at one time. And you really can't control that, or they just started showing up gradually. And before you know it, they just took over. And that's the thing. You can't really avoid that. That happens all over the world, It really happens a lot in the USA. It's starting to happen here, which, again, I find it funny and unique. And I am sure, in fact, maybe you guys in the comments, okay, if you already live in Mexico and you already know that there are expat communities in other parts of Mexico, whatever city you live in, let us know. Because, again, there's different kinds of expat communities. For example, out here, there's American expats, there's French expats, there's Canadian expats, French Canadian, just American. There's all expats. There's black people, Like there's a lot of black people that move out here. I got a lot of black friends, It's really interesting. But they got their own communities and their own thing. It's like I said, And then depending on what part of the country you're in, like again, if you go to Mexico City is like, again, like New York, all right, or LA, meaning it's not only is it huge, but it's a giant melting pot of so many people from so many parts of the world. There's a lot of Chinese people there. There's a lot of, again, Muslims, there's a lot of everybody, everybody. And we're not the only ones. In fact, we're just, if anything, we're just like the ones that are, the newer ones in any sense. We're now like a major, population, thing in many areas of Mexico, which before, there was like about 1 million, U.S. Citizens living in Mexico, but I think now it's a lot more than that. And again, it's 1 million. It's not that much. When you really look at it, depends on how you look at it. Some people might say it's a lot, but look, that's not the point. The point is that, look, the typical Mexican, okay, just like the typical American or the typical anybody, they're going to love a foreigner. They're going to love, anyone from a different culture, especially if they're nice, especially if they love the culture they're coming into. So again, in the US, we have people from all over the world, but, all of a sudden you see this Indian guy that just got off the boat and he's assimilating very well to America. People love that, It's the same thing. Like if you're like a gringo or a foreigner or an expat or anything, and you come out here and you're waving the Mexican flag, you're all about Mexico, you love Mexico, they're gonna love that. They're gonna be like, man, this guy's pretty cool. He's a little overboard, a little, hardcore, but hey, whatever, who cares? Hey, he loves us. We love him. And again, you'll find people, they're not gonna like you no matter what. Come on. But for the most part, 98% of the people are gonna love you. And that's just the reality of it. And so, but they're not going to love you if all of a sudden you are, forcing English on them or forcing your customs on them or just not, assimilating at all to their culture and who they are and all that stuff. And so that's why, again, in the US or in other countries, you'll see people that do get upset with the Chinatown or the Hispanics or the whatever, because they're like, man, who are all these people that are just kind of taking over our country and they're not assimilating at all? You know what I mean? They're just taking over in a sense, or they're just picking a piece of this whole, country of ours and they're just making it their own. So Mexicans, will obviously feel the same way if all of a sudden there's a lot of, Americans or Canadians or whatever, and they just come out here and they just take over a lot of area, especially in a major city or in a major area. There's going to be people that love it and some people that hate it. Look, I don't know how the whole situation is in the Mexico City area with that, but for example, if there's going to be a lot of Americans there, there's probably going to be a lot of, American entrepreneurs that are going to be there, and they're going to be making Philly cheesesteaks, Philly cheesesteaks, real New York pizza, a San Francisco bagel, whatever, or sourdough, and all these things, and all of a sudden real American food, and all of a sudden oh my God, wow, how cool would that be? For everybody, meaning that the Mexicans would start going to that neighborhood in particular just to get some American food. How cool would that be? I mean, that would be the most amazing thing ever, So, all of a sudden, you'll see a hot dog vendor, selling New York hot dogs, right next to the taco guy. And just so many things like that. So, we got to just remember all that, now things are starting to turn the other way. And now, a lot of people that are coming from Canada, from the USA, from Europe, from whatever, they're going to be coming out here, living out here, setting up roots, doing their thing. And, well, this is all part of it, in some parts of the, country, there's going to be large concentrations of Gringos, of expats, of whatever. Some people will love it, some people will hate it, but it's all really going to depend on you, and how, you really interact with the typical Mexican and the people out here. Because look, there's going to be, look, right now there's a lot of people that might not like, what's happening in that Mexico City area situation, but guess what? There's a lot of Mexicans that are loving it, look, for example, if you're in the restaurant industry or in the service industry and you're working in that area, listen, your income has increased exponentially. If you're in construction, it's increased exponentially. You might be a well-off Mexican that now all of a sudden, has all these expats, living there, that now he doesn't have to travel to these countries to practice English or to learn more about, these customs, from these countries that he loves so much, wherever you're from. And I can go on and on. So, there's good and there's bad, let's just keep it real. Let's just keep it honest. But, this LA Times article, and, I'm sure it's been in other publications out there, about the gentrification, of the digital nomads coming out here to Mexico and taking over. It's partially true, but there's good and there's bad to that, and then this is only the beginning, like I've said, I find it pretty hilarious, to see this whole thing kind of play out and go through the motions here. And it's going to be interesting to continue to see this whole thing play out. So, I'm excited. I hope you guys are also very excited to see how all this, plays out. But, the reality is that, I think a lot of you guys, when you move out here, you're looking to assimilate to, the Mexican culture. And you're going to be most likely living in an area where you're going to be surrounded by other Mexicans. And again, just, be yourself, okay? Make sure to preserve your culture, preserve who you are, preserve everything about, what all that stuff. But at the same time, assimilate, meaning go have a taco at the taco stand. Go buy fruit at the fruit stand by your house. Make friends with your neighbors. Learn Spanish. Go to Mexican Independence Day. Invite your Mexican friends over for, let's say, the 4th of July or whatever, holiday you celebrate. I don't know. I can go on and on. Not just assimilate, but also, share your culture, share who you are with everybody else. And trust me, most Mexicans are going to love you, and they're going to love that. They love America. They love, other people. They love culture. They love, they're, very, very educated out here, and they love, interacting with all kinds of people. So, like I said, don't let a few bad apples, ruin it for the bunch. Meaning, don't let a few bad Mexicans ruin this whole thing for you. And don't let a few bad expats ruin this whole thing for you. Because look, let's just talk about another subject, all right, that I kind of bounce around a lot and I don't really like to talk about, but I have talked about. The fact that, look, man, a lot of you guys, when you move out here, you're going to want to gravitate towards your expat community. And that's great. And that's wonderful. And a lot of you are going to do the complete opposite. You're going to get away from the expat community like me. Because the reality is that, I never felt, accepted. I never felt, I don't know, at home in the USA. I move out here and I feel at home. I feel, like, wow, everything I've always been missing, I have out here. So for me, it's been very easy to assimilate, and it's been something that my soul, my insides, my everything has, always wanted and desired, and all of a sudden I have it here. A whole country, a whole peoples, a whole everything that is just, giving me everything I've always wanted. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to assimilate with that. And I have a bunch of, again, expat friends, meaning, friends, that are, from all over the world, a lot of them from the U.S. So, obviously, I'm American, I'm doing these videos. I got a lot of friends in the USA, and a lot of them come visit me as well, and so on and so forth. So, I'm still part of everything, but I'm not like yearning, to be with a lot of expats. And again, some of you guys might be in that same boat where you're not yearning or wanting or desiring to be with all these expats. In fact, like me in the whole, that situation, I'm probably, if I go to Mexico City, I want to go to the area with all the expats, where everyone's speaking English just out of curiosity, but I would never want to live there. I would never want to be there. I would never want to, spend time there, I don't know. It just doesn't do anything for me. I would rather be in Chinatown in Mexico City.
You guys don't even understand, bro.
Okay, by the way, they have a Chinatown there, just like they have other things like that. So,
knowledge.
Yeah, Like, how come no one's saying anything about Chinatown in Mexico City, right? Come on, give me a break here. So, I just find it funny and hilarious. And, we're going to be seeing so much more of this coming forward in Mexico, all right? Something that we are already used to in the USA, in Canada, and in some countries in Europe. Come on, so now we're the immigrators, we're the ones that are now, entering this culture. We're infiltrating the culture. We're trying to, again, assimilate to Mexican culture as much as possible. But again, we're also got our own culture that we love and we want to preserve, and some more than others, and some want to assimilate more than others, and it's all this other stuff, so there's just many things at play here. But when it's all said and done, Mexico loves you guys. There's no problem out here with anything. Like I've talked over and over and again in my videos, Mexico is just more and more open each and every single day, and that's just the reality of it. And so this is even more proof of that. And we're going to be seeing that, I wonder when that community is going to be popping up here in Merida, where there are going to be areas where it's just going to be a bunch of expats. Maybe there already are out there. I don't know. If there are, please let us know down below. But that's it. At the end of the day, it all really depends on the people, and you cannot control the people. You can only control yourself and how you are going to really assimilate out here to, Mexican culture, how you're going to, either love it or hate it out here. And a lot has to do with you, that's it. So to sum it all up, guys, you got nothing to worry about. Mexico is as open as ever, and again, this is even more proof that there's a lot of people coming out here, and there's going to be more people coming out here, and that you better get used to being the immigrant instead of dealing with the immigrants, okay? Because now things are backwards, and you're going to be dealing with that, and that's just the reality of it. And, again, for some people, they want to gravitate towards the expat communities because it'll make it easier. Like I said, my mom doesn't even speak English, and she lives in the USA. you know? So you might just come out here and never learn Spanish. It's up to you. But some people want to learn Spanish, and some people want to learn the culture, and some people want to assimilate. You know what I mean? Some people want to even marry, a Mexican. And I can go on and on. So it's all just going to be very different experience for everyone out there. But Mexico is going to love you guys, and they're going to love your dollars and your euros, and they're going to love your culture, and they're going to love so many things. Let's just keep it real, all right? And that's just the reality of it, all right? This is a very warm and welcoming and loving country, and it's not going to change anytime soon. So you might as well just, get over your fears of all that, and just, again, if you're still considering coming out here, just do it already, all right? Stop wasting time. Again, as most people have already told you many times before, the one thing that they regret about coming to Mexico is not coming soon enough. And that's just the reality, all right? So I think that's it, guys. I think we're going to be wrapping up the show here. We're going to wrap up the video here. I really, really, really hope that you guys enjoyed today's show. We're going to be making many more of these. I know that I used to make a lot of walk and talks and bike rides and stuff like that. We'll be making those more in the future. I just got my new toy. I got the car, and I'm showing you areas that I've never gotten to show you before. So I kind of want to do that for now, and then eventually we'll get back to the walking and the talking and the bike rides and stuff like that, because I missed those too, and I gotta get some exercise. So we gotta get to do those again. So yeah, this is the reality of it. By the way, I've lost even more weight, and I'm healthier than ever. You know what I mean? So yeah, but still, I cannot rest on my laurels, as you know. You know what I mean? You got to get back on that bike. You got to get back on the horse. You got to just get back to it. So, but anyways, with that being said, guys, you already know the deal. I really love you guys. I want to give a shout out to all the new subscribers, all the new viewers. If you're not subscribed, subscribe now. I want to give a shout out to everybody out there that has been always, been liking the videos and leaving comments down below. Everyone that's provided a few bucks here and there for the show. I know I keep asking. I know I never ask in every episode. I'm asking now, but you know what? It's just this is my job. I just got to be realistic, and this is the way what I gotta do, and it is what it is. But you know what? I don't think you guys care anyway. So, all right, guys, you already know the deal. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to please like, please subscribe, please share, please hit the bell icon. But more importantly than anything else, stay awesome. See, look, I don't even speak English myself, and don't even worry about it. Don't feel bad about not learning Spanish all the way through. You'll get it eventually if you want to. Anyways, all right, time to go. Peace out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.